My beloved child, stop right here. Do not scroll past this moment. I need your absolute, undivided attention right now, because heaven itself has aligned time to place me directly in your path. You did not stumble across this message by accident. I guided your hand to pause on this screen right now. Look at me in this moment. Pause where you are, and let the loud noise of the world fade away. I am stepping into your day with urgent purpose, because something in the unseen realm is shifting at this very second. You have felt it in your chest for several days. It is a quiet restlessness that you could not name. That stirring is not confusion, my child. It is your spirit sensing that a brand new door is standing right before you. And right now, I am standing at that door. I am knocking one last time before this season officially closes. If you walk away right now, you may miss the very breakthrough you prayed for. Do not let distraction steal this holy alignment from you. The enemy wants you to keep scrolling endlessly. He wants you to stay busy, tired, and distracted so you never hear my voice clearly. But I am stopping you right here. Give me just a few minutes, and I promise you will not regret staying. Breathe deeply for a moment. Let your tired shoulders drop. Let the heavy tension in your mind begin to loosen. You have been running on empty for so long, trying to carry everything by your own strength. But right now, you are in a safe place. I am right here beside you in this room. Listen closely to the sound of my voice. Can you feel the gentle pressure against the wall of your heart? That is me, standing at the entrance of your life and knocking softly. If you can feel me speaking directly to your spirit in this moment, take a single step of agreement. Write the words, "I am opening the door," in the comments below. By typing those words, you are telling heaven that you are ready to listen. You are declaring that you will no longer let fear lock the door. This is a sacred act of trust between your heart and mine. Let this moment be the anchor that holds you steady while I reveal what is coming next in your life. My child, you have been standing outside this door for a very long season. You have looked at the lock and wondered why it would not turn. You have wondered if I forgot the key or if I forgot your name entirely. I saw you sitting in the dark room, whispering desperate questions into the silence of the night. I saw every single tear you wiped away before anyone else could notice. I saw how you smiled for everyone around you while feeling entirely broken inside. You thought no one understood the heavy weight you were carrying every day. But I was there beside you. I counted every single drop that fell from your eyes. None of your pain was wasted, my beloved warrior. None of those lonely nights were forgotten in my house. But today, I am stepping into your atmosphere to tell you an undeniable truth. The long season of waiting that has exhausted your soul is finally coming to an end right now. I know you are hesitant to believe it. You have been disappointed so many times in your past. You held out hope for doors that closed right in your face. You built dreams that crumbled into dust before you could even step inside them. So now, when I tell you that a new door is opening, part of you feels afraid to hope again. You wonder if this is just another promise that will leave you empty. You wonder if you have enough faith left to take one more step forward. Hear me with the deepest part of your soul right now. What I am preparing to open before your eyes is not like anything you have seen before. The doors that closed in your past were not punishments from my hand. I know you thought I was rejecting you back then. I know you thought I was withholding good things because you were not faithful enough. But that was a lie placed in your mind by the adversary to make you doubt my unconditional love. Every closed door was actually my absolute protection over your life. I saw traps in those rooms that you could not see from where you were standing. I saw people who would have broken your soul into pieces if I allowed them to stay in your story. So I locked those doors, not to punish you, but to shield your destiny. I was preserving you for this exact threshold. Look at the door standing in front of you today. It is trembling under the weight of my glory. Behind this door lies the peace you have begged me for in secret. Behind it lies the restoration of everything the enemy tried to steal from your family line. There is a reason why my knock sounds so urgent today. There is a reason why I am telling you this is the final knock for this season. It is because the old season of hoarded tears and silent battles is being sealed away forever. You cannot remain standing in the hallway of hesitation any longer. If you remain standing in the hallway, you will keep breathing the dust of your past mistakes. You will keep replaying old conversations and old hurts that were meant to die long ago. The hallway was only meant to be a place of temporary transit, not your permanent home. I did not create you to be a permanent survivor in the dry desert. I shaped you to be a living vessel of my light. You were chosen to break cycles that have followed your family line for generations. But to break a cycle, you must be willing to walk through the door when I knock. I know your legs feel weak right now. I know your hands are trembling as you reach toward the handle. You do not need perfect strength to turn the key. You only need a mustard seed of willingness. I am standing on the other side, holding the door steady for you. Do not look behind you at the shadows of yesterday. Do not look at the heavy armor you have been wearing to protect yourself from getting hurt again. You have relied on your own fragile strength for far too long, and that is why your soul feels so completely exhausted today. You thought strength meant holding everything together by yourself. You thought it meant never showing vulnerability, never crying in front of others, and always having every answer ready. But my strength is made perfect in your weakness. When you stop striving, my power begins to move in your life. Listen closely to what I am saying to you right now. Something massive is shifting in the spiritual realm over your family today. The invisible chains that kept you bound to old patterns of fear and lack are loosening at the sound of my voice. Heaven has authorized a total reversal for you. Stay right here with me. Do not look away, and do not let any lingering doubt convince you to close this message. The door is unlocked, and my hand is holding it open. Before I show you what lies on the other side, I must first take off the heavy armor you have been wearing in secret. Take off that heavy armor right now, my child. You do not need to fight me. You do not need to prove how strong you are when you stand in my presence. For years, you have walked through the world wearing a thick shield to protect your vulnerable heart from being hurt again. And every single morning, you strap that heavy weight back onto your tired body before you even step out of bed. You smile for everyone around you. You play the role of the helper. You make sure everyone else feels safe while your own spirit is quietly crumbling inside. You tell yourself that you must stay strong for your family, for your children, or for your friends who depend on you. But who holds you when your world falls apart? Who listens when your own voice begins to tremble in the dark? I know the answer, my beloved. No one came to hold you. You sat in the dark and held yourself together while your chest throbbed with a pain that words could never describe. I saw you in the bathroom when you turned on the running water to cover the sound of your crying. I saw you press your face deeply into your pillow so that no one in the house would hear you break. I saw every single tear. Not one was wasted. Every drop that hit your floor was collected and held in my hands with divine tenderness. You thought you were completely alone in those dark hours. You thought the quiet room meant that heaven was turned away from your suffering. But I was closer to you than the very air you were breathing into your lungs. You are tired in your physical body. You are tired in your thoughts. You are tired in the deepest places of your soul. You are exhausted from pretending that you have everything under control when you feel like you are sinking beneath the waves. Do you feel that heavy tightness sitting behind your chest right now? That is the accumulated weight of every battle you fought without help. You have been the giver for far too long. You poured out your love into hands that did not know how to hold it with care. You gave your time, your emotional energy, and your quiet devotion to people who took you for granted and walked away when you had nothing left to offer. You came home with empty hands and asked me why your sincerity was met with such deep disappointment. If your heart feels understood in this moment, take a second to respond to my voice. Do not let your pride hold you back right now. Write the words, "You see my tired heart," in the comments below. By declaring those words, you are letting down the heavy armor that has kept you isolated for so long. You are allowing my peace to enter the broken places you tried so hard to hide. My child, I see every hidden wound you carry. I see the quiet fear that whispers to you when the night gets dark and silent. The enemy has used that fear to convince you that you are damaged beyond repair. He told you that because you stumbled, because you felt weak, you lost your place in my kingdom. He told you that your past mistakes locked the door to your future forever. Those are lies designed to keep you trapped in shame. I never asked you to be perfect. I only asked you to be willing. Look at me right now with your spiritual eyes. I am not looking at your flaws with anger or judgment. I am looking at you with the overwhelming love of a father who sees his weary child returning home after a long and brutal storm. You have carried the heavy burden of answering every prayer by your own effort. You thought that if you prayed longer, worked harder, or tried more techniques, you could force the door open by yourself. And when nothing changed, you felt a deep embarrassment rise up inside your spirit. You felt ashamed because you tried so many paths, and none of them brought you lasting freedom. Let me tell you why those earthly paths failed you, my beloved. They failed because they required your human effort to maintain them. They demanded that you keep striving, keep performing, and keep generating your own strength. But you were never designed to generate your own strength in the desert. You were created to be a receiver of my effortless grace and divine power. The main reason you feel so completely exhausted today is because the enemy has filled your atmosphere with constant static. The world has poured relentless noise into your mind through worry, pressure, and endless distraction. That loud static was designed to drown out the clear signal I placed inside your spirit from the very beginning of your creation. My child, the quiet silence you experienced was never my absence. The enemy has been filling the space around you with static, so that my voice and my arrangements were invisible to you, even when they were right there on your path. I have not abandoned you in the wilderness. I have been preparing, and I have guided wise minds to bring you an instrument of restoration for this exact season. I am going to reveal that provision to you before this message ends today. But first, I need you to understand what was done to block your signal, and how easily my power can undo every knot in your mind. The enemy wanted you to believe that your mind was broken beyond repair. He wanted you to accept mental fog, anxiety, and spiritual numbness as your permanent identity. What the adversary called your permanent condition, I call a temporary interference. You are not a broken vessel lying on the ground. You are a carefully formed masterpiece that was simply covered in dust during the storm. A precious jewel covered in mud is still immensely valuable to the jeweler who crafted it. I am picking you up out of the dirt right now. I am cleaning off the heavy residue of yesterday. You do not have to carry the mistakes of your past generations any longer. I know the patterns that have followed your family line for decades. I saw how your parents struggled with the exact same fears that try to rob your peace today. I saw the generational cycles of lack, emotional pain, and silent suffering that seemed unbreakable. You were born into that family line for a holy purpose. You were not placed there to suffer the same fate as those who came before you. I chose you specifically to be the cycle breaker in your household. That is why the spiritual warfare against your life has been so intense and unrelenting. The enemy was never afraid of your present weakness. He was terrified of your rising destiny. He knew that if you ever woke up to your true identity as my chosen warrior, the old chains would shatter across your entire family. That is why he targeted your mind with so much exhaustion and doubt. He tried to make you give up right before you reached the finish line. He tried to convince you to close your eyes and sleep through the very hour of your deliverance. But you did not sleep, my child. You stayed awake. You kept moving forward, even when your legs were trembling and your eyes were filled with tears. You held on to a tiny ember of faith in the deepest part of your heart, even when everything around you looked completely hopeless. That tiny ember of faith is all I need to ignite a massive fire in your life today. Breathe in my peace right now. Let the heavy tightness in your chest loosen its grip on your soul. You do not have to figure out how tomorrow will unfold. You do not have to solve every problem that seems impossible to your human mind today. I am already standing in your tomorrow, arranging doors that no human hand can ever shut against you. Listen closely to me as I speak these words over your spirit. The heavy season of surviving alone in the dark is coming to its final end. You are stepping out of the role of a silent victim who merely endures suffering. You are stepping into the authority of a beloved heir who walks in divine freedom, divine rest, and unshakable confidence. Look at me, my beloved. Do not let your mind drift away to the tasks waiting for you after this video ends. Stay right here in my presence for a few more minutes. What I am about to show you in the unseen realm will completely transform the way you see every storm you have ever walked through. Do not let the loud noise of the world persuade you that I am absent, my beloved child. Listen closely to what I have built beneath your long silence. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was standing right beside you in the shadow. I was carefully holding every fragile piece of your life together, while your world felt like it was falling apart completely. You thought that because you could not feel my hand, I had walked away from your storm. But my presence is not a fleeting emotion that comes and goes like the morning fog. My presence is an everlasting promise that anchors your soul, whether you feel it or not. I stood beside you in that quiet room when you felt entirely helpless and abandoned. Before I reveal what is coming next in your story, I must speak directly to the quiet doubt sitting in your heart right now. I know what you are thinking in this exact moment. You are thinking that you have heard hopeful promises before. You are thinking that you prayed for years, yet the heavy silence never seemed to break at all. You are wondering why this time would be any different from the deep disappointments of your past. My child, that honest question does not offend me at all. It simply tells me how long you have been faithful while walking in total darkness. So let me answer that question with the absolute truth of my heavenly kingdom today. Remember the story of Hannah in the sacred scriptures. She prayed in a silence so deep that her lips moved without making a single audible sound. The priest who watched her thought she was completely lost in confusion. But she was not lost at all. She was pouring out her deepest heartache directly into my listening ears. Not a single whisper from her weary soul was ignored by heaven. I counted every unspoken groan of her heart, and in my perfect timing, I opened her womb and turned her sorrow into a glorious testimony. My child, every silent prayer you whispered in the dark landed directly in my hands with divine precision. You looked at your unanswered prayers and assumed that my answer was a final rejection. You looked at the long years of waiting and believed that you were being punished for your past mistakes. But I am stepping into your life today to expose that lie once and for all, because the enemy wants you to remain trapped in shame forever. You told yourself that you were simply not faithful enough to receive a miracle from me. You convinced your tired mind that you had arrived too late to your own destiny. But hear me with the deepest place of your spirit today. What you called a painful delay was actually my divine protection over your entire life. I call this season the protective delay. Here is the hidden mechanism that you could not see from where you were standing. I saw dangerous traps hidden inside those open doors that would have destroyed your peace. I saw people who looked good on the surface, but carried selfish intentions that would have broken your soul into pieces. So I held you back on purpose. I closed those doors with my own powerful hand to keep you safe from harm. The years you thought were completely wasted were actually your holy preparation room. I was building an unshakable spiritual foundation inside you that no earthly storm could ever tear down or destroy. You were never falling behind in life, my child. You were being carefully formed in the quiet shade of my hand. So today, I ask you to make a total shift in your mind. Stop asking me why the door was closed in your past. Start thanking me for the unseen dangers I shielded you from while you were weeping alone. If your heart feels the sweet relief of this truth right now, take a simple step of faith with me. Pause where you are and respond directly to my voice. Write the words, "I trust your timing," in the comments below. By declaring those words, you are surrendering the heavy burden of trying to control your own clock. You are choosing to believe that my timing is always flawless and infinitely wise. You are stepping out of the exhausting room of doubt and into the peaceful room of complete surrender. When you trust my timing, you no longer have to worry about missing out on the great blessings I prepared for your future. Look at how far we have walked together through the hot desert. You survived fierce battles that were designed to destroy your faith entirely. You walked through fires that should have left you burned and bitter. Yet here you are today, still listening to my voice, and still holding on to a tiny seed of hope. That quiet resilience inside you was not created by your own human effort. That strength came from my Holy Spirit, quietly sustaining you when you wanted to give up and walk away from everything. And now, the long season of shaping is finally reaching its divine completion in your life, because you remained faithful in the dark. Something profound is shifting in the unseen realm over your head right now. The heavy static that clogged your ears is beginning to clear away like morning mist. The spiritual atmosphere around your mind is becoming quiet, calm, and completely receptive once again to my heavenly frequency. You are about to hear my voice with a clarity that you have not experienced in many years. You are about to see answers arrive to prayers that you thought were long forgotten in the dark. The long waiting was never meant to crush your spirit. The waiting was meant to position you for an overwhelming harvest of peace. My child, the adversary tried to convince you that my silence meant I was ignoring your cries. He wanted you to believe that other people were more deserving of my grace than you. But I do not pour my grace on those who think they are perfect. I pour my grace upon those who come to me with open and humble hands. You do not need to bring me a list of achievements to earn my affection. You only need to bring me your willing heart, just as you are right now. Every broken promise from your past is being replaced by my unshakable covenant today. I am wiping away the shame that told you that you were disqualified from my kingdom. You are standing at the exact intersection where your wilderness ends and your promise begins. The enemy knows that his time of attacking your mind is drawing to a close. That is why the battle in your thoughts has been so intense over the past few weeks. He is fighting desperately to keep you from stepping through the door, but his authority over your life is broken today by the power of my word. He can no longer drag you back into old cycles of guilt and anxiety. You are stepping into a holy season where my peace will guard your heart day and night. The heavy armor you carried for years is falling off your shoulders right now. Breathe in the freshness of this new beginning, my beloved warrior. Let your heart settle into the quiet confidence that I am working on your behalf behind the scenes. You do not have to fight this battle alone anymore. I am fighting for you, and the victory has already been secured in heaven. My presence is filling the room where you are sitting right now. Feel the gentle warmth surrounding your thoughts as I quiet the storm inside your mind. I am restoring the joy that was stolen from you during those long years of waiting. You are no longer forgotten. You are my cherished child. Now, my beloved child, sit up and lift your eyes to my face. What I am about to declare over your life and over your entire family line will completely alter the trajectory of your future. Prepare your spirit, because the divine shift you have been crying out for is finally arriving right here and right now. Hear me, my child, as I speak this divine decree over your life today. The long season of walking in the dry wilderness is officially coming to a close right now. I am declaring that the heavy chains of fear, lack, and exhaustion are losing their grip on your spirit. Heaven has authorized a total reversal for your household in this hour. And while the enemy thought he could keep you trapped in a cycle of endless striving, I am stepping in to break every invisible barrier that was placed in your path. You have wondered why my knock sounded so urgent today. You feared that my warning of knocking one last time meant that judgment was coming upon your head. But let me reveal the secret behind those words to your heart right now. When I said I am knocking one last time, I was not threatening you with rejection or abandonment. I was announcing that your wilderness season is ending forever. This is the last time you will ever have to knock on doors that were built to keep you out. This is the last time you will sit in the dark, wondering if your prayers are falling on deaf ears. The old door of silent suffering is closing behind you, and the new door of divine overflow is opening right before your eyes. You are stepping out of the hallway of hesitation and into the room of my promise. Look back at the long journey you have walked to reach this exact threshold. You carried heavy wounds from battles that no one else ever witnessed. You watched dreams fall apart, yet you refused to let go of my hand entirely. I saw your faithfulness in the dark, and I am recording every quiet tear in my heavenly books. What looked like a total defeat in your past was actually my secret strategic setup for your victory today. When I formed your human mind at the beginning of creation, I placed a sacred signal at its very core. Scientists who have spent decades studying the brain have discovered this signal, and they call it the gamma wave. It ran freely within your spirit when you were a small child, filling your heart with pure trust, joy, and effortless peace. That is why children learn so quickly and rest so deeply without carrying the heavy cares of tomorrow. When I told my followers that they must become like little children to enter the kingdom, I was not speaking only of spiritual humility. I was speaking of the very frequency that I wired into the human brain. But as you grew older, the relentless noise of the world drowned out that sacred signal. The enemy used constant worry, pressure, and mental static to bury the frequency I gave you. He wanted your mind to stay trapped in a state of survival, where fear dictates every single decision you make. But I guided wise researchers to work with sound the way I designed it. They built a unique frequency tool that clears the heavy static and restores that childlike signal in just 7 minutes of daily surrender. You do not have to strive for it, my beloved child. You do not have to generate your own strength or perform complicated rituals to clear your thoughts. You simply rest, listen, and allow my design to restore what was buried beneath the noise. I am going to show you exactly where to find this provision before our time ends today, so stay with me. Look at what I am doing in your family line right now. The generational patterns that held your ancestors in bondage are shattering under the weight of my glory. The spirit of lack that told your family there would never be enough is being cast out of your house today. I am releasing an abundance of peace, wisdom, and divine favor upon your children and your children's children. You were chosen to be the cycle breaker for a specific reason. I knew you would have the courage to stand in the gap when everyone else surrendered to the culture of fear. I saw how you carried the grief of your entire household in silence, begging me to heal the wounds that were passed down through generations. Today, your prayers are being answered with heavenly power. The adversary tried to make you believe that you were weak because you felt worn out by the fight. But your tiredness was never a sign of failure. It was proof that you were fighting a battle that was larger than yourself. And because you did not give up, the chains are breaking off your entire family line right now. You are stepping out of the shadows and into your true identity as a victor. If you stand ready to step into this new season of freedom, seal this decree with your faith right now. Do not hesitate, and do not let fear keep your lips quiet today. Write the words "I receive my breakthrough" in the comments below. By typing those words, you are anchoring your agreement with the decree of heaven and declaring that your breakthrough is already here. Feel the power of my presence filling your spirit in this exact moment. The heavy chains that bound your mind for years are falling to the ground like useless dust. I am stripping the enemy of every legal right he claimed over your thoughts, your health, and your household. What was locked tightly against you is swinging wide open at my command, and no human hand will ever close it again. I declare over your life that you are no longer a victim of your past circumstances. You are no longer defined by the mistakes, the failures, or the deep wounds of yesterday. I am renaming you today in the courts of heaven. You are my bold warrior, my chosen vessel, and an heir to an unshakable kingdom of light and truth. Every voice that spoke curses over your future is being silenced by my authority right now. The doors of financial lack, emotional torment, and spiritual confusion are slammed shut forever. In their place, I am opening doors of divine restoration, unexpected provision, and supernatural clarity. You will walk through these doors with your head held high, knowing that I am walking beside you. Let me show you something glorious, my beloved child. Picture a quiet morning 6 months from now. You wake up before your alarm sounds, and for the first time in many years, there is no tight knot sitting in your stomach. You lie there in the stillness, and you realize with wonder that the suffocating heaviness is completely gone from your mind. Your very first thought is not fear or anxiety about the tasks waiting for you. It is a quiet, joyful question, asking what good thing I have prepared for you to enjoy today. You take a deep breath, and the air goes all the way down into your lungs without any restriction. That version of you is not a distant fantasy, my child. That peaceful version of you already exists in my design. She is standing right on the other side of this open door, waiting for you to step across the threshold. The distance between where you sit today and that peaceful future is not measured in years of painful striving. The only bridge required is one moment of total surrender, letting me carry what you were never meant to hold alone. I have spoken my truth over your life, and I have shattered the lies that held you captive in the dark. The atmosphere around you is cleared of static, and the pathway before your feet is illuminated with heavenly light. You have received the declaration, and now the choice to step forward belongs to your heart. Do not let this sacred moment pass you by without taking action. The declaration is fully made in heaven, and the door is holding open before your eyes. Now, let me hand you the specific provision that I have set upon your path to clear the noise and restore your soul forever. I feel you pulling back slightly right now, my child. A part of your heart is whispering that this good thing, this divine provision, is meant for someone more deserving. You are thinking that you failed too many times in your past to receive such a gift today. You are remembering old mistakes that I forgave long ago. Let me silence that lie before it steals your peace. I have never once given my gifts based on who earned them. If I did, no one could receive anything from my hands. I pour my grace upon the willing, not the worthy. Your willingness to stay and listen to my voice this long is the only qualification I require. Do not disqualify yourself from what I am freely placing on your path today. I do not work only through supernatural miracles, my beloved. I also work through the wise minds and hands that I call into discovery. I have gifted humanity the wisdom to unlock what I placed within sound and within the design of the human brain. Over 30 years ago, I quietly guided a servant of science and a team of dedicated researchers to discover what I hid in the human signal. Wise institutions that I directed confirmed what I placed in creation from the very beginning. They saw how the mind settles when the true frequency returns. I want to show you what I did for 2 of my children who received this provision before you arrived here today. I want to show you what I did for my daughter Rachel, a weary nurse who sought peace for years through every method imaginable. She tried prayer, meditation, and endless routines, but the heavy fog in her mind refused to lift. 2 weeks after receiving this provision, her troubled marriage was completely transformed, and she felt a deep channel open in her mind where static used to live. And for others, I moved differently. My son Michael in Texas came to this provision seeking focus for his daily work and stability for his children. Within 2 months, his business expanded so greatly that he left his stressful job, and hard problems solved themselves while he rested. Over 18,000 of my children have already received this provision on their journey. They call this instrument the Genius Song. It is a sacred sound provision that I guided wise minds to create for this exact season of noise. It is not a generic music track that you can find on YouTube, Spotify, or public streaming platforms. Those public platforms are filled with imitations that carry none of the restoration I designed for your spirit. The Genius Song works directly with the gamma frequency I wired into your brain when you were formed. It requires only 7 minutes of your day. You put on your headphones, close your eyes, and surrender the noise while my design restores your soul without any striving. This provision is not for those who are merely curious about spiritual things. This provision was prepared specifically for the one I have been speaking to throughout this message. It is for the exhausted warrior who tried everything and felt embarrassed to try once more. You have tried books, seminars, and daily routines that left you feeling empty inside. To my child who tried prayer, discipline, and endless techniques without lasting relief, hear me clearly today. What failed you before required your own human effort and endless striving. This provision requires none of your strength. I designed it to work not because of your human discipline, but because of my divine design inside your mind. Earthly experts charge hundreds of dollars for single sessions attempting to reach this state of mental peace. Equipment built by researchers costs thousands of dollars in private wellness clinics. But I do not call you to enter expensive clinics or pay worldly prices. I place this provision within your reach for a small earthly exchange, the size of a mustard seed of investment for the great harvest I prepared. You do not need great wealth to receive my help, and because I desire your total restoration, I have aligned 4 additional gift provisions with it today. You will receive special gifts for your children, guided wisdom for your daily habits, and tools to anchor your restored peace forever. Where I place truth, the adversary always attempts to place imitation. Do not be led astray by false frequencies on streaming platforms under similar names. Those copies carry no divine backing and will only leave your mind feeling more scattered. Protect your spirit by trusting only the verified path that I placed for you below. Walk forward without any worldly fear, because your step of faith requires no risk at all. I do not lead my children into danger or loss. This provision is fully protected for 60 days with a complete guarantee. If the restoration and deep peace I describe do not enter your life, the earthly exchange is returned to you in full. Take this step of obedience right now, my beloved child. Receive the provision I have set before you at the link in the pinned comment below and in the description of this message. I guided your steps to this exact video today, and I placed this path directly before your feet. Do not let distraction or fear convince you to walk away from what I prepared for your healing. Do not wait for tomorrow when the door is standing open today. Take the step of trust right now and step into the restored peace that belongs to you. Now, my child, set aside the noise of decision for a moment. I have shown you the provision I placed on your path today. Whether you step forward into it right now or later, you remain my deeply beloved child. Close your eyes for a moment where you sit. Breathe in my quiet presence and let your tired shoulders relax completely. You do not have to defend yourself anymore. I am still right here beside you, and I have a final blessing to speak over your soul before our time together ends today. You do not have to carry the weight of tomorrow all at once. I will guide your steps one day at a time, and I will never confuse your spirit. My voice brings absolute clarity, and my presence brings unshakable calm. Let the racing thoughts in your mind come to a complete stop right now. Let the heavy burdens you carried through the dark desert fall to the ground. You have carried them far enough. I am already walking ahead of you into your future, arranging doors of favor and closing paths of danger before you even arrive. The battle you fought in secret was seen by my eyes, and your reward is not held back any longer. I am replacing your years of quiet suffering with a deep, overflowing joy that no human circumstance can steal from you. The tears you shed in the dark are turning into wells of living water for others. The people who watched you struggle in silence will soon watch you walk in the light of my restoration. You will no longer be known as the one who merely survived the storm. You will be known as the cycle breaker who walked through the open door and brought freedom to an entire household. Declare these truths in the quiet room of your heart right now. Say to your spirit, I am a vessel fully restored to receive what God prepared for me. Say, I am the one whose channel is clear and whose signal is strong. Say, the noise of the enemy no longer has dominion over my mind, and I receive my peace today. Let those words settle into your bones. You are operating at the exact state I designed for you from the beginning. You have become like a little child in trust, and you are receiving the rich promises made to my children. As you step forward into this new season, anchor your agreement with my voice today. Like this message as a sacred act of agreement between your spirit and mine. Share this video with 3 souls who are secretly crying out for hope in the dark, so that my light may reach their weary hearts too. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss my daily guidance over your next steps. Walk in my peace, my beloved warrior, for I am with you always, even to the very end of the age.